After surviving a series of events that pushed her to the edge, a woman suffers an emotional breakdown. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself trapped inside a bank, surrounded by police and accused of a heinous crime. Can this single mother escape such a dire situation? It all begins with Jania, a devoted mother who fights every day for the well-being of her sick daughter. Although the room they live in is far from ideal, Jania does everything she can to get by day after day. While bathing her daughter, she reminds her to be careful with her science project, since batteries are very expensive. In response, her daughter asks her to pay the lunch money to the teacher, because if she doesn't, all her classmates will keep making fun of her. Jania promises she will, as she's expecting her paycheck today. As they leave for school, the landlord threatens to evict her unless she pays what she owes. A bit shaken, Jania tells her that she'll take care of it today, no matter what. Before getting into her car, she gives a few coins to an old disabled friend who gratefully thanks her. Our protagonist drops off her daughter at school and greets the teacher, who stares at her strangely. Jania arrives late to work, and her boss, Richard, is furious because there are a lot of customers waiting. To make matters worse, her first client is aggressive and ends up throwing a glass bottle at her. When she goes to get the mop, her co-worker Bonnie checks on her to see if she's okay. Jania says she's fine and that there's nothing to worry about. Bonnie pulls out some money to give her, knowing her daughter is ill and she's struggling financially, but Jania declines, saying she's getting paid today and things will get better soon. Alone, Jania gets a call from the school. Something's happened with her daughter. Frustrated, she explains that she can't go because she's working. As if on cue, Richard bursts into the room, angrily demanding she return to work immediately. Desperate, Jania begs him to let her leave, even if just for a moment. After a tense argument, Richard, visibly irritated, gives her a final warning and grants her only 30 minutes to see her daughter. In a rush, Jania heads to her car, but before getting in, she crosses the street to the bank in front of her workplace because she needs to withdraw $40 for her daughter's lunch. The ATM doesn't allow her to complete the transaction, so, with the clock ticking, she goes inside the bank hoping to resolve it. However, she's met with a long line, and with no other option, she leaves without the money. She hurries to her daughter's school. When she arrives, the teacher tells her it's too late. Child Protective Services have already come to take her daughter. Jania breaks down, explaining that she's doing everything she can to provide the best for her child, that they can't take her away because she needs care and a lot of medicine. Sadly, the social workers ignore her pleas and say they'll evaluate the situation and conduct a home visit. It's a devastating blow for our protagonist, who is left heartbroken. On her way back to work, she nearly crashes into another car. The man, furious, throws his coffee cup at her and refuses to let her go. He chases her and rams into Jania's car, causing her to lose control and spin out in the middle of the road. Unfortunately, her car won't start. In the pouring rain, she steps out to check it. At that moment, a female officer approaches. As Jania tries to explain, the man who hit her shows up raging and claims he's a cop. Out of control, he starts berating Jania and threatens to make her pay. The female officer intervenes and orders her colleague to leave. Then she asks Jania for her papers. Sadly, her documents are expired, and the officer decides to write her a ticket. They tow away her car. Jania returns to work, hoping to continue her shift, but her boss, Richard, blocks her from approaching the counter. In a stern tone, he scolds her for being gone for 2 hours, and without giving her a chance to explain, fires her on the spot. Distressed, Jania asks for her paycheck so she can at least leave with something in hand, but Richard, now furious, flatly refuses. He tells her the check will be mailed and that she'll have to wait several days to receive it, although Jania tries to reason with him, explaining that she has bills to pay and a daughter to feed. It's all in vain. With no other option, she's forced to leave empty-handed. As if her day couldn't get any worse, when she returns home, she finds all her belongings thrown out onto the sidewalk, soaking in the rain. Her landlord, tired of waiting for late payments, has evicted her without warning. This breaks our protagonist. She gathers her daughter's toys and medicine into a bag and, desperate, goes to find Richard again to ask for her paycheck. Once more, he refuses, and to make matters worse, he insults her. While they argue, 2 robbers appear. One of them points a gun at them and demands all the money from the safe. When the thief wants Jania's bag to stash the cash, she refuses to give it up. As they struggle, Jania pushes him and, without thinking, ends up shooting him. Instead of supporting her, Richard accuses Jania of being an accomplice and reports her to the police. In shock and overwhelmed by his cruel words about what will happen to her daughter, Jania kills her boss and takes the paycheck, so she can cash it. Hours later, the police arrive with detectives Kay and Bill. After watching the security footage, Kay decides to investigate further by questioning Janiah's co-workers. When Bonnie is interviewed, she insists Janiah could never have planned a robbery, that she's a devoted mother going through extremely tough times. Bill believes it's a clear case. Janiah is guilty. But his partner Kay disagrees. She's convinced that Janiah was caught up in the situation simply because she wanted to cash her paycheck. Meanwhile, Janiah enters the bank across the street, which is about to close. The branch manager, Nicole Parker, allows her in and instructs the tellers to assist her. But since the check is stained and Janiah doesn't have her ID, the teller refuses to cash it, even though she knows her. With a gun in hand, Janiah pleads again for them to cash the check, terrifying the tellers. Nicole realizes what's happening, and at that moment receives a call from the police. She informs them that the suspect they're looking for is in the bank. Frightened and unsure of what's going on, she tells them she sees a bomb in Janiah's bag, which heightens the officer's alert. Elsewhere, the detectives go to Janiah's former residence and find her belongings on the street, along with her daughter's medications. This deeply moves Kay, who begins to feel empathy for our protagonist. Just then, they're informed that Janiah is inside a bank, and they immediately head over. The tellers, terrified for their lives, begin handing Janiah all the money they can, but she, visibly distressed, stops them in desperation. She doesn't want the bank's money, she only wants what's rightfully hers, her paycheck. Nicole, trying to remain calm, instructs her staff to give Janiah only what she's due, attempting to de-escalate the situation. Janiah doesn't even seem aware that she's holding a gun in her hand. At that moment, one of the customers tries to approach her quietly to subdue her. During the scuffle, a shot is fired, but luckily no one is hit. Amid the confusion, both the customer and the security guard manage to escape the bank, leaving Janiah in a sea of confusion. Now the place is surrounded by patrol cars, and her name begins appearing on the news. Detective Kay asks her superior to let her act as the negotiator. She believes Janiah had an emotional breakdown and was simply in the wrong situations. After convincing her superior, Kay manages to get in contact with Janiah. Our protagonist explains that she didn't come to rob anyone, she just came to cash her paycheck to pay the $40 for her daughter's lunch. She doesn't understand why everyone is so upset. Kay tries to explain that she's willing to help, but Janiah, yelling, says that no one ever helps her and ends the call. Nicole gives Janiah her money, trying to calm things down, suggesting they could just walk out and say it was all a misunderstanding. However, Janiah refuses, especially after spotting the arrogant police officer she had the earlier incident with. She's certain he'll shoot her if she walks out of the bank. One of the tellers secretly starts live-streaming the situation on her phone. Two elderly hostages ask to leave, and Janiah only lets them go after a moment. She then orders the doors to be secured while she thinks about what to do. Suddenly, the device in her bag starts making noise and flashing lights. Everyone panics, certain it's a bomb. Meanwhile, Detective Kay urges that they hold off before calling the FBI, believing they can still resolve things without force. When Janiah speaks with Kay again, she explains all the difficult situations she's been caught up in, and insists she can't come out because the officer who threatened to kill her is still outside. Her story is broadcast on TV, stirring empathy from viewers who hear the conversation. Just when Kay is about to convince her, Janiah insists that no one can help her, and she won't come out until the officer who's going to hurt her is gone. The police chief asks who they're talking about and starts looking for the officer in question. Hours later, a crowd gathers outside, holding signs demanding Janiah's release. Things take a turn when the FBI decides to take control. Despite being told that Detective Kay has already built a rapport with Janiah, FBI Chief Brace refuses to allow further negotiation. Brace is ready to order a forced entry. When Janiah receives a call from him, she loses control. She only wants to speak with Kay. At that moment, the device in her backpack starts making noise and flashing again, causing everyone to panic. Janiah takes it out and explains that it's her daughter's science project. Even so, everyone assumes it's a bomb. She asks Nicole to tell the police they're mistaken, but the manager suggests it's better not to. It's the only thing keeping them from storming in, and she doesn't want Janiah to get hurt. Detective Kay finally locates the arrogant officer. After roughing him up, she informs Janiah that they've found him and she can now come out. However, Janiah refuses until they send her a photo, so she can be sure it's the right man. Brace won't listen to reason and prepares his team to move in and subdue her. Defying protocol, Kay personally brings her phone to Janiyah so she can see the photo. Once Janiyah confirms they found the right man, she lets everyone go. Nicole, however, doesn't leave. She returns to Janiyah, reaches out her hand, and promises to visit her and deliver the $40 to the school for her daughter's lunch. Just as they're about to leave, Janiyah receives a call from her mother, Dolores, who demands to know what she's doing. As Janiyah starts to explain, her mother tells her something that makes everything clear. Her daughter, Arya, passed away the night before. Unable to cope with the loss, Janiyah fell into complete denial and acted as if her daughter were still alive, desperately clinging to a reality that no longer existed. Nicole already knew what was going on and had handled the entire situation with the utmost care, just like Detective Kay. In a gesture of empathy, Nicole takes Janiyah's hand once more and explains how they should proceed. The two women walk outside together, where Kay is waiting. The detective gently places her hand on Janiyah's back and escorts her to the patrol car. With deep sadness, she watches as Janiyah is taken away, while the crowd outside clamors in support. And so this story comes to an end. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this new movie. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave a beautiful like and subscribe to the channel.